When you're 16, there are many opportunities that are opened up to you, and one of them is NCS. NCS is a government-run programme called the National Citizen Service, and I signed up for the summer programme for 4 weeks with my friend April. And as part of this, you are taken on a week of outdoor activities, a uni experience, and then 2 weeks of doing community or voluntary work. And this is to help you boost your CV. So I thought, yeah, give it a go. May as well. It's only for 16 and 17-year-olds, so I didn't have a lot of time to do things like this. So it got to the third week, and we were asked to come up with our own project. And we chose to do the box project, which was collecting donations to give to the homeless of Bristol and Gloucester. And we first off struggled to come up with ideas that actually worked to get donations. We came up with ideas like sponsored fun runs and backpacks at supermarkets, but we faced a lot of rejection for that. None of the emails that we sent out got responses from. I tried to ring up Tesco's, and 3 times they told me to go on their website. So in the end, we resolved to what I call legal begging, which is where you take buckets out onto the streets and you ask people to give their spare change. So we reluctantly went to Poundland and bought 6 black buckets, which we created little signs for saying the name of our project and that we were part of NCS. And we sorted ourselves out into 3 separate groups, and we stationed ourselves in separate parts of Bristol. And I was with 2 other girls, and we were put in Cabot Circus. So before we began, we thought the best way to approach this is to act confident, because people will feel better about giving their money to you if you're friendly and outgoing and say, hi, care to give us a 50p? So we tried this out. I think we got to 3 people where we just thought, okay, this isn't what we thought, because everywhere we went with our bucket, we were shot sharp, disapproving looks by everybody. And we were kind of a bit unsure about this. And after about half an hour, probably not even that, our confidence was battered to the ground by all this. And we were to the point where we just decided, you know what, maybe we should just go and hide in the streets to pretend that we'd done it. So with our sad, empty buckets swinging by our sides, we walked out onto the street. And what I saw before me was absolutely beautiful. There was this police horse, and he was, well, in my opinion, he was a big horse. And he had a lovely shiny bay coat. And as we were walking across the corner, I couldn't take my eyes off him. And unfortunately, I failed to recognise the fact that his rider was talking into his radio. So 2 minutes later, we found ourselves being approached by a policeman. And he told us that we were actually committing an offence because we weren't a registered charity. And I've always done what I've been told. I've always been a good girl. And this was going against any expectation that I had of myself. I thought, even though it was quite a minor situation, at the time, I blew it up out of proportion, and I was like, oh my God, I'm actually facing arrest. And the other girls were fine about it. They were like, okay, yeah. The policeman was all right. He just sent us around Bristol for 2 hours, wasting our time trying to get us permission from people that had already said no. And this was quite a big thing for me. Almost getting arrested out on the streets of Bristol, and it was all for a single £2 coin sat in the bottom of my bucket. But we finally were able to convince the policeman that we were okay, because we didn't actually know that we were unregistered. Because even though NCS is, like, they do that kind of thing, they send people out asking for money to raise for charity, but they didn't think to tell us that we had to have legal registration, and they don't have that. So one of many experiences that I had on NCS wasn't great, but I did learn a very good lesson. If you were to ask me back, I'd have to say no thank you. Thank you.